Season 8 was finally revealed yesterday, and the developers at Rare went into quite a bit of detail about how this new way to play works and how you can level up your allegiance and gain access to all the new rewards. In this video, I'm going to specifically talk about how this new PvP gameplay mode works and talk about some of the things I've thought about since it was revealed, like how it may affect Alliance servers, so stay tuned for that. Hello pirates, my name is Ellie and I post regular Sea of Thieves videos on this channel. If you want to stay up to date with the game, then remember to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when I put up a new video. So this brand new gameplay is actually pretty in-depth and there's a lot to cover, so bear with me. First of all, a lot of players will be pleased to know that this is an opt-in system. If you don't opt in, then you can simply continue to enjoy Sea of Thieves in the same way you always have in adventure mode. But you won't earn any allegiance for the two new factions and you won't be able to unlock any of the new rewards or enter the new environments at Reaper's Hideout and in the Pirate Legend Hideout. In order to opt in and take part in this new way to play, you have to board your ship and select an allegiance using the Hourglass of Fate on your captain's table and vote to represent one of the two new factions, either Servants of Flame or Guardians of Fortune. You can change allegiance during a session and you aren't pigeonholed to one side. You can choose to fight for Flameheart for one session or even just one fight and then switch to Pirate Lord for the next, allowing you to earn progress for both the new factions over time. You can choose to vote up your allegiance and then continue to do world events or voyages, but you'll be marked as willing for PvP, and so you can be invaded by other ships who have opted into PvP and are actively hunting for allegiance fights. You can stack loot from voyages and world events, and increase the treasure value of your hourglass while allegianced. This treasure value will act as a multiplier for your allegiance earned. If you manage to defend your ship with this loot on board against an invading rival faction ship, then you will earn even more allegiance than a normal victory. This is great because it gives people a real incentive to stack loot again, aside from just getting gold. In theory, you can also essentially choose your battle locations in this way, by simply voting up allegiance and doing voyages in this area. Any invading ships will come to you, giving you the control of where your fight happens. In order to do the hunting, you can actively choose to seek out an opposing allegiance ship to fight. This will mean you'll be invading other ships who have chosen to do voyages or world events with their allegiance active, or other ships which have chosen to actively seek out fights using the war map. To play in this way, you vote on the war map on your voyage table. You'll then dive down into an underwater tunnel or loading area, and the game will use skill-based matchmaking to find you another crew to fight. When you emerge from the water, your ship will burst up from beneath the waves and you'll find the opposing faction crew directly ahead of you, ready to fight. Essentially what has happened is you've been server merged or portal hopped to the opposing crew's adventure server, and you'll then be placed inside a battle bounds area, which will be shown on your map table. It looks to be a reasonable size, around 6 or 7 squares diameter. If you leave this area during the fight, then your Hourglass of Fate will begin to crack and you'll get a warning. If you continue to stay outside the battle bounds, then your ship will explode and sink, and victory will be given to the opposing crew. This was obviously done to stop ships from running away from a fight. When you sink or lose a fight, you will lose your allegiance much like an emissary flag. The losing ship will also be migrated to another server, making a clean break from the ship who won the fight. If you win the fight, you'll remain on the server and are then free to dive again for another fight or seek out world events and voyages on that server. You can also head to an outpost, stock up for more adventuring or fights, or you can simply vote down your allegiance at the faction table and cash in your hourglass value. Each rival faction ship you sink increases your hourglass value. You can choose to raise an emissary flag while running an allegiance, and your emissary level will increase as you sink opposing faction ships. When you cash in your hourglass, the value will be multiplied with the emissary level, similar to how the emissary multipliers work for loot when sold. However, bear in mind that an emissaried allegiance ship will be a pretty massive target on the seas, so you're opening yourself up to some pretty serious PvP if you choose to play this way. High risk, high reward, right? This new way to play comes with a streak system. Your sink streak will be tracked, and once you hit a 4 sink streak, you will become a champion ship and be marked on the map for all other ships to see. The matchmaking for on-demand fights will match solo sloopers against solo sloopers, duos against duos, brigs v brigs, and galleons v galleons. However, as a championship, you will open up a second option to vote on the war map to fight a larger crew if you choose. If you manage to sink a championship, then you'll be granted a bit extra allegiance than usual, but your hourglass value will increase significantly. Now bear in mind that all this new gameplay will happen on regular adventure servers. You'll not be on any private or instance sessions, and even when you choose to specifically seek out fights using the war map, this all happens within the adventure mode. This means that you will still be in the shared world of Sea of Thieves, and other players and crews can interfere in the fight. The developers confirmed that other crews on the server can literally sail into the Battlebounds area and either aid or hinder your fight. From what I can tell, this also means that you can organically find fights against rival faction ships by looking on the horizon, much like you do now for PvP. I'm not quite sure what happens if you manage to sink an opposing faction ship while they're actively engaged in an on-demand fight with another crew. Who gets the allegiance for the sink? Both of you? Is it like where if you get hit on a skeleton ship but someone else sinks it, you still get credit? We'll have to wait and see. From what the developers have said in the reveal for this content is that it has brought something to Sea of Thieves that perhaps no one was really expecting to experience again since the arena was closed. Mike Chapman talked about how his experience of the new way to play brought out the whole just one more go mindset for him, and I can totally see how that will be the case. Providing the matchmaking times aren't long and the diving and emerging is fast enough to keep the pace exciting, I think this will be a great way to get that just one more game experience on Sea of Thieves. Reassuringly, during the reveal, the developers also talked about how they've worked with Sea of Thieves partners and insiders closely for this update, and that they've deliberately tried to iron out any exploits or issues that players could think of during development and testing. Hopefully that is the case and this new way to play won't be hindered by a gaping exploit or problem at launch. One of the only things I've thought about which could be an issue, but without playing the update, this is pure speculation, I do wonder how this is going to affect Alliance servers, or be affected by Alliance servers. Alliance servers are very popular, and I worry that a potential issue could be a whole server alliancing up, one or more ships voting allegiance up, and because the rest of the adventure server can get involved in the fight, you could be left in a position as an invading ship, where you'll rise out of the water to face an enemy, but very quickly be ganged up on by an entire Alliance server. Now, I don't know if there's any protections against this, or if there even need to be, and obviously until the update is actually released, I'm not 100% sure on how this will work, but it's just something I've thought of as a potential issue. That being said, this is one of those updates that feels absolutely massive in scale, and I think it's really going to change the way the game is played. It will have a knock-on effect at how the rest of the sandbox feels, and I can't wait for it to be released so we can experience it firsthand. It feels like the community, myself included, haven't been this excited for an update since the anniversary update back in 2019. It's a real game-changing update, and for a seasonal update, it feels huge. In my opinion, bigger than captaincy. The way it will change the playstyle of every session and how it will enrich the PvP experience and potentially affect the PvE experience is just far bigger in scope than I think we were expecting for something in a seasonal update. The expansions to Reaper's Hideout and the Pirate Legend Hideout, the new rewards, the entirely new way to play the game with new systems and mechanics for PvP make this feel like a real content update to the game, not just an add-on. It launches on Tuesday 22nd of November, so literally just a few days' time. How are you feeling about the content now it's been revealed? What do you think of the new way to play? Let me know down in the comments. If you like the video, then please do leave a like and subscribe for more Sea of Thieves content. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the seas.